Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again to speak about Jay Slater. No, it isn't over yet. So I receive a number of emails from you lovely guys on a day-to-day basis. I also get tagged on a number of posts on a day-to-day basis. This video we are going to react to, I was tagged a number of times in. Now, this is a guy telling his side of the story, his perspective. He flew over to Tenerife and he helps the family, allegedly, look for Jay. So let's check this out.
Guest is Shane Yarrell in the studio with me, who's raised a milestone of £200,000 for different fundraising choices that he's made.
Fantastic.
And it's a really busy time. But back in June, Shane was really poorly. He was in hospital, but he read about missing teenager Jay Slater, and he got in touch with the Jay's family through social media. So, being poorly himself, he said as soon as he was out and about, he wanted to help. So how did you do that, Shane? And how on earth do you read a story like that and think, I want to help here? Because I think we all read it, and most of us were heartbroken that this young boy had gone off on his travels and was somewhere in Tenerife. And a lot of us have been to Tenerife. We know what it's like over there, and it's hot.
Yeah.
And he's a young boy. So what did you think when you read this story, and what made you think I need to do something?
Well, as you're saying, I was in hospital at the time, so I had a lot of time on my hands. Obviously, the visiting hours were like 5 o'clock. My partner, my mum and my friends are coming up, so I had a lot of the day. And it was the first thing that was coming up on social media, everything. You log on to Facebook, you log on to Instagram and TikTok. It was just everywhere. And
It was.
I remember reading it thinking, God, I hope he's found. I really hope he's found. And then I see the interview that his mum, Debbie, done, and she was getting slaughtered a little bit. And then I see his dad, Warren, come on the news, and he was in tears. And that bit just done me. I'm a parent myself. I've got a 17-year-old, Jay was 19. I instantly wanted to help. Like I said, I wasn't 100% at the time, but and I don't think some people were impressed with me going over there. I think it's good to clear this up on here. Like I was fit to fly. It wasn't straight out of hospital. I'd been out of hospital about a week, and the doctor passed me fit to fly. So I'd messaged Rachel Hargreaves, which is Jay's best friend's mum.
Right.
And I said, look, I'm no mountain expert, but I've climbed a couple of mountains. I've read the story. If you need any help, like, I'm happy to come over there.
So at this point, he's contacted Rachel through social media and asked if he could help. He hasn't spoke to Debbie, hasn't spoke to Warren.
She messaged back and said, yeah, like, just we're happy to have you over here, but just be careful. I went for a little bit of a break. But
Hold on. We're happy to have you over here, but just be careful. So Rachel has given this guy the green light to fly over to Tenerife and help with the rescue mission. But what does she mean by just be careful? It was cut there. I'm not too sure what he meant or what she meant.
In my mind, I wanted to go up there and help. So there was a group going out on the Saturday, and I went up. And it's quite a funny story. Rachel hadn't said to the family, because there's so much going on, that she hadn't said that I was going up there. So I just walked up.
Wow, so Rachel hadn't even told Debbie or Warren that this guy was coming over to help. So at this point, it seems like she's really controlling what's going on.
Jay's dad, Warren, I said, hi, you Warren, I'm Shane. And I think he was so cautious. He said to me, you're not a reporter, are you? I said, no, not at all.
So he's approached Warren to say, hey, my name's Shane. And Warren's looked at him and said, bro, you're not a reporter, are you? I mean, at this point, it seems like it's out of control. Bearing in mind, it seems like Rachel is controlling this, but it seems out of control. To the point where Debbie and Warren doesn't even know who this guy is. They don't know what's going on, who they can trust, who they should be speaking to. But it doesn't make any sense why Rachel has called this guy over. He's gone all the way over to Tenerife to help, and she hasn't even told Debbie or Warren yet.
Then I watched the family literally work their socks off. Like, there's so many comments. I'll get to that as we go on. But, you know, people saying the family are living it up on the GoFundMe. They're sitting at the hotel letting everyone else search for him. They're not doing anything. It's complete rubbish. I was up there, and when I was up there, it was not just his dad. It was his dad, Warren, his brother, Zach, his uncle, Glenn, his stepdad, Andy.
So now we know who Glenn and Andy are, uncle and stepdad. I think a few people put that in the comments in the last video. Big you guys up.
And Rachel up there every day, and like that.
And Rachel was there. There was 5 of them up there, including Rachel. And then add this guy to it, that gives them 6 people. And then you got to think about all the other volunteers. And then you had Chris Tenerife and his crew that eventually got themselves involved.
It's not I've climbed a few mountains, but it's uncomfortable at times because you've got the heat and the mud sort of turns into, it's like sandy and it slips. And his dad cut his leg. You know, it's not easy conditions. It really isn't. But they done everything they could, and I just instantly was like drawn to them. Like, you don't want to see anybody struggle, but I could see that, you know, how desperate they were to find him, and everybody wanted that ending. They wanted to find him alive and well.
And they weren't giving up. They weren't leaving the island until they found Jay.
Back, and I was going to go back out there because I'd come back for a medical appointment, and then I think it was like 4 or 5 days before I would have been able to go back out there. I see that my phone was pinging off one day, like 16 of my friends saying like, "Have you seen there's been a body found?" And it's heartbreaking because obviously you put yourself in their situation. I've got a child that's a very similar age. Jay's family are absolutely lovely. They really are. They've done everything they could, and nobody wants.
And Warren is still out here looking for answers, doing everything he can to get those answers.
Nobody wants it to end like that today. There was all sorts of conspiracies going on. Nobody knew what to believe, whether he was, whether someone had taken him, whether he was missing, whether he'd fallen or whatnot. You know, and I just feel like it's so unfortunate. He's gone on his first boys' holiday with his best mate and had a great time, and it's just ended. It's ended badly, isn't it? And
it's ended in the worst way.
100%. And his family are sort of left grieving. Jay's death has touched the hearts of the nation. There's no doubt about it. There's strangers. I was a stranger. Strangers that were like. A lot of people said to me, "I was obsessed with reading it. I couldn't stop reading it." I thought, well, in the hospital, I felt the same. We all just wanted him to be found, and all just wanted him to be found alive and well. And then when you meet the family, that makes it even more difficult because you realise how nice they are and how much they're fighting to find him. They're doing the best. And what I've struggled with recently, really struggled with, is social media. I think like the nation owes Debbie, Jay's mum, an apology. And
I want to say the nation owes Debbie an apology because it wasn't the nation that was attacking Debbie. People in London, people in Cornwall, people in Bristol, people down the south of England that don't know Jay SLATER, don't have nothing to do with Jay SLATER. Maybe they've just read the case online or just read it on social media. Whoever would have sent those messages, sir, been people that directly or indirectly knew Debbie or Jay. That's definitely my opinion, because for me, it doesn't make sense any other way. I believe nobody outside of their location woke up, saw that Jay was missing, and decided to troll his mum. The people that done that were local or people that were close to Debbie and Jay. What I want to add to that is that I do not condone that behavior. The abuse, the messages, everything that got sent to Debbie, Warren, anyone in that family is absolutely disgusting. If there is a way of tracing those messages back to the original sender, then I believe that should be done and those people should be prosecuted. No place on this planet for abuse, let alone to a woman and her family that are looking for their missing family member.
Found in the last week or so, there's been some horrible comments about Jay's best friend, Brad.
Okay, so in the last couple of weeks, he's basically saying there's been some horrible comments about his best friend, Brad. Jay's best friend, Brad. Remember, this is the guy that contacted Rachel through social media. Rachel's the one that brought him in. So him and Rachel clearly have been building some sort of relationship. And I feel like I know where this is going at this point.
Knowing what happened to him, and Brad as well, there was a message on Facebook that Rachel had sent to me. A stranger had messaged her and said, "You're an absolute hypocrite having Jay as your profile picture. Your son is a see you next Tuesday," and basically like responsible for Jay's death. He knows something. And the boy's really struggling, and you've got people steaming into him and steaming into Rachel, like Rachel's some kind of ringleader, like Rachel knows. And Rachel actually, and she won't mind me saying this, Rachel actually quit her job to go out there and help to find Jay. Really got to know her, and she is a lovely woman, and I feel like she's...
Okay, so this is a guy that met Rachel a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, and he is already on radio advocating and claiming that X, Y, and Z. Now, we can totally appreciate that, but as a man that has years of experience I wouldn't expect you to be as naive or gullible as you may have been. Because at the end of the day, if you don't know someone and they are in the middle of a massive, massive case, they are going to be in a position whereby they are going to manipulate the way you think, feel, and what you believe. Please don't ever be fooled and naive to believe that because you've known them for a couple of weeks and they've shown you a side to them that have made you feel some type of way, that they're not involved or they don't know more. Because at the end of the day, the stories don't make sense. And if you would have looked at the stories, you would have understood that Brad is literally lying. If Brad is really eating up inside, why is he on a live stream with a girl that's overexcited, screaming Jay Slater's name from the top of her lungs? We're talking about a friend that allegedly went off with two random strangers, and after 29 days, he was found at the bottom of a cliff. Brad spoke to him. And Brad didn't even bother advising him to stay where he is because he was going to jump in a cab to go and collect him, or sending him a cab to jump into. But had his screenshot location, he knew where Jay was. And based on the time frames and the time lengths that they have given us, they don't add up to where Jay's body would have been found. It doesn't make any sense. If Jay's body was found there, it means that they would have had enough time to save him. They would have had enough time to get to his point of destination before he continued to walk off a cliff. I can totally appreciate and understand what this guy is saying, but to a degree, it's a lot of gaslight, because you don't know the person that you are advocating for. And because they made you feel away, it doesn't mean that they're not guilty. And like I said, I don't condone any type of abuse. No one should be getting abused online. But at this point, we don't know what messages have been sent, what messages he's referring to. We are yet to determine whether they are being abused or are they being accused. And one thing I do want to add is men are easily manipulated when it comes to women. Like he's confirmed, his relationship with Rachel is very, very new. He met Rachel at a point where something could have already happened and they're in the midst of trying to cover something up. So the way they make you feel at that point is clearly going to be opposite. At the end of the day, their stories don't make sense, especially Brad's. None of it makes sense. So then you can't really be advocating for someone that doesn't really have a leg to stand on, especially when there's so many red flags and so many things to suggest that they are telling lies. As we know at this point, even Warren doesn't trust nobody. The thing that I want to add is that a number of people have confirmed that Rachel hadn't quit her job to go out there and find Jay. Rachel is still doing lives while she's at work at this moment in time. He also says that people think that Rachel is a ringleader. I'm not saying that she's a ringleader. As far as I've been told and as far as I've read, Rachel has gone out with a number of guys that have also been involved in a number of criminal activities, and this include activities that take place in Tenerife. So this guy who's only known and been speaking to Rachel for a few weeks doesn't know her history, doesn't know what she's been up to, doesn't know her past, doesn't know what ex-partners were on, doesn't know what her friends were on, doesn't know what people she was associating were on. You don't know. So you can't sit on radio and advocate for a woman who could be 100% guilty. But because she's made you feel some type of way, you're going to put your neck on the line without actually knowing the finer details and say X, Y, and Z. It doesn't make any sense.
Used daily on Facebook, and even the other day she put a picture up of Brad and her daughter, who's 9 years old, and people were posting it on Facebook and making horrible comments.
Well, who could have been posting it and making horrible comments on Facebook? Because the only people that would have had access to that are Rachel's friends. So again, it's people that know Rachel, people that are in close proximity to Rachel. This ain't people living in London. This ain't people living in the south of England. This is people living in the Lancashire area, people that are living in that area. No stranger is going to have access to Rachel's personal pictures on Facebook unless she has accepted that person as a friend. So again, I don't understand how this guy is saying all this stuff, which I do agree with, because I don't condone anyone being abused, but you're saying this stuff as if it's absolutely genuine. And at this point, we don't know what's genuine and what's not genuine. We don't know if Rachel and Brad are guilty, if they're not guilty. Based on the red flags, based on everything that encompasses this whole case, it stinks. It's a lie. You can't then sit on live radio and be an advocate for a lie, especially for someone that you don't even know. But you're acting like you know them because they made you feel some type of way over an 8-week period. It makes no sense. And you're putting your neck on the line, because if further investigations were to take place and then later on down the line it was discovered that Brad and Rachel were in fact guilty or conspired, then how much of a fool are you going to look? And then you can kind of counteract that by saying, well, what about if they are found innocent? Then what about the people that were claiming them to be guilty? Unfortunately, that's what happens in a case like this, when everything stinks, when none of the stories make sense.
This is a child. Brad's barely an adult, he's 19.
Look, we also need to stop saying this. Brad is not a child. Brad is 19 years old. Brad was old enough to get on a plane with Jay and go to another part of the world unsupervised. If you are able to do that, you are no longer a child, okay? So stop with this narrative about, oh, but Brad is just a child. He's not a child. He knows what he's doing. Children don't smoke cigarettes. Children don't go on holiday by themselves. Children don't take drugs. Children don't do that. So when you're trying to paint this picture about this guy being a child, allow it. It's a false narrative, a false image. Now, I agree with what he's saying here. If a 9-year-old child is being plastered all over the internet by some vile, disgusting people, then of course something needs to be done about that, 110%. But to a degree, if Rachel's got control of the people that's in her Facebook community, I don't understand how that picture would have got into the wrong hands.
And I think we've really got to get to a stage where I think there should be a law in place where, because Facebook,
a law. It's like everyone wants to keep putting laws in place. You understand, the more laws you put in place, the more you take away your own freedom.
In a disrespectful way, you can come on and you can get in trouble for sharing a video, you get done for copyright. But then why are you allowed to come on and talk about somebody that's passed away in such a disgusting way and abuse their family and abuse their friends? And we need to learn that saying again, be kind. Like after what happened to Caroline Flack, everyone's forgotten. And if you have a negative opinion, that's fine. But you don't need to plaster it all over Facebook. And please put yourself in the position.
If you have a different opinion, that's fine, but please don't plaster it all over Facebook. Shane, this is what social media is there for. People plaster their opinions on social media. As a content creator, you know how many people are judging me day by day? You know how many people have got their own opinion on me day by day? Do you know how many people make videos about me day by day? Do you know how many people are sharing those videos and sharing those opinions about me day by day? That's what social media is all about, mate. Of course, we don't condone abuse. There needs to be a way of the social media companies regulating the platforms whereby they can, you know, cancel those people or delete those people that are abusing. Another thing I want to add, because we are all aware, is Rachel actually set up the original GoFundMe and then deleted it. And then what she then done is went on her own Facebook account and told all of her friends that it was a fake GoFundMe. Not, oh, I set the GoFundMe up, but I've been told to take it down. We're going to set a new one up. No, you just said it was a fake GoFundMe, which made the people that followed you think that a scam was about to take place or someone was scamming someone. And then she didn't go back to any of those messages to reassure them to say, no, actually, it was me that set it up. No, she just left that energy out there. She gave that perception and made people feel that people were trolling and that people were trying to take advantage by setting up fake GoFundMes. That's the energy that she put out there. Like I said, she's the one, in my opinion, and you can come at me for this, she's the one, in my opinion, that started the trolling. Original message that Debbie would have received about you're never going to see your son again was a genuine message. It doesn't make sense that she received that the moment she got off the plane. It's literally less than 24 hours of Jay being missing. Why would anyone randomly send Debbie that message through WhatsApp? That message was a genuine message, and then someone who's been controlling this narrative or involved in controlling this narrative from the very, very beginning created multiple accounts, made it look like there were trolls, made it look like there was something that was going on that probably wasn't even going on. They had to start that domino effect, and then there would have been people in that local area, the Lancashire area, their area that they're from, they would have then kind of followed suit.
Of Debbie, Warren, Rachel and Brad, and think about how they're feeling. Put yourself in that situation and think, how would you feel if you lost your son or your best friend or your son's best friend?
I've personally put myself in that position. I have a lot of empathy. I am with Warren. I stand with Warren. He is still looking for answers because he doesn't believe in what he has been told. That includes what he's been told by Rachel. That includes what he's been told by Brad. Don't ask me, you ask him why.
And then you're getting ripped apart online.
So that's him with them. I big him up, like he went to go and help. I'm not taking anything away from what he done for the family. He went to go and help. But at the end of the day, what I'm just saying is you can't stand here and confidently be an advocate for someone who you don't know. Anyway, big that guy up. He went over to Tenerife to help Jay's family, and he done exactly that. Unfortunately, Jay was found 29 days after going missing at the bottom of the ravine, and it just doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with thousands of others. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on what we've just spoken about in this video. I want to know exactly what you are thinking right now. Hit that like button. Do subscribe to the channel if we are new, turn the notification bells on so you don't miss out on future videos. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.